in another place and another time talked about how you can determine the acceleration of an object if you know its initial and final velocity and the distance over which that took place. Applying that to the landing, that I make the assumption that the balloon has, when it's hitting the ground, the center of it is 5 centimeters above the ground, and then as it hits, that it's going to keep on going at a 45-degree angle till it flattens out completely and breaks. And so based on the data that I used from before, that I'm going to have a value that's somewhere in the neighborhood of 1700 meters per second as the total acceleration, so 170 G's. And so I broke that into the X and Y, and that's how I came up with the roughly 1200 value that I mentioned before. And so, and then that's why I've said that it is 5 centimeters above the ground to begin with. In the case of the Y velocity, it's moving downwards right before it hits the ground, so it is going to have a velocity that is negative, and here is its acceleration. But as I enter that, I realize that the acceleration on the balloon in the horizontal direction is to the left, so that makes that a negative. And then in the Y direction, oops, blew that. Let me put that negative back. That in the Y direction, the acceleration is upward, because since the balloon is moving down and it's slowing down, that the acceleration must be in the opposite direction. So as in the past, I am going to take the acceleration and drag that down, and then I'm going to do the same for the other acceleration, drag that down, and then we have to decide what sort of time step we're going to use. And so I'm sure by now you've figured out that we're going to be dealing with thousandths of a second, and I hope you're seeing a pattern here so that you can start to figure out which what time step makes the most sense. And so, as in the past, that my velocity in the future is going to be based on the velocity in the past plus whatever the acceleration is, times whatever the time step is. And it would be useful if I actually, no, I should, because I had made a mistake, which you saw. I'm so embarrassed. So I'll copy that puppy on down, and then I can talk about the position being equal to, in the future, where I started, plus how fast I'm traveling, times the time step, and this time I'll hit the period rather than the comma. And I'll copy that on down, and then I will do the same thing. Whoa! Jump back, Junior. I'm going to do the same thing for Y. And so when you come back, I will have all of these, all three sheets trimmed off to the appropriate size, and I will show you how we're going to go ahead and use these data to generate the graphs that we need. And so, stay tuned, as they say.